Hi again, we're back for our video on the mindfulness practices. So in this video, we'll be learning 10 mindfulness and meditation practices, which you will be teaching to all your students. Either they're the adult or the child at every age and stage of their development. We'll be training on how to teach these techniques differently to every stage of the child's development. So let's explore the word mindfulness for a moment. Mindfulness means to be fully aware, fully grounded, fully present in whatever we're choosing to be mindful about, with two things: without any judgment and without any expectations. That's what mindfulness means. Could also be called awareness or conscious. And then let's discuss the word meditation. Meditation means to be in a state of learning or listening. So we're not talking about whatever's going on. In a state of meditation, we're just sitting back, being silent, and letting it talk to us. So with that in mind, let's move on to some of the techniques that we're going to be teaching. I would highly recommend you try them on yourself first, and then practice teaching them to yourself, and then start teaching your students. So the first technique is called the stop technique, S-T-O-P. Stop technique. Stop means S, spiritual, T, time, O, out, P, please. Spiritual time out, please. So whenever our lives are just going along well, we're fine, but when we feel like we've gone out of balance, we stop. We take a mindful moment. That's what it is, a spiritual time out. Stop means pause or stop. T, take some time out, take a mindful moment. O, observe something to make you ground down and calm down and get peaceful again. Then observe your environment, what made you go out of peace, what was the trigger. And then P, proceed in a very mindful, cautious manner. The reason for that is we want to live effective lives where we don't do things that we regret and we have to apologize for because we've taken that step back. Be mindful, and then proceed always in a win-win situation. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about this energy that we're trying to stop. What is this energy? This energy is our life force coming directly from the Creator. It enlivens everything, the whole cosmos, the whole universe, and it's in us, working us on 4 different levels. The same, what's called prana in yoga, chi, and other things in different cultures, is that life force. So when it manifests physically, it's working my heart, it's working my lungs, it's working my muscles, it's getting energy to make my physical body move. When it's working in my emotions, I'm feeling some way or somehow. When it's working my mind, it's bringing down thoughts into my being from the ether. And when it's working the intellect, I have the power to discern those thoughts. So those are the 4 levels we're operating on. We want to keep in mind, as we go through these techniques, how we're going to teach this information to the child at every stage of their development. And we will be learning more and more about that as we go along. But just keep that in mind as I go through them. How would you teach a young child all this information? How would you teach an older child? How would you teach a preteen and a teen? Very differently, right? With some we have to play games, and with others we can get more serious. So this energy is very interesting. It actually moves according to your intention. So let's just practice this to bring home that point, right? So the exercise is to move your arm round and round in a circle. And how come your arm started moving? What had to happen for your arm to start moving? There you go. Your intention, you said to your arm, move around in a circle, and it followed your intention. So energy moves according to your intention. Now tell your arm stop. What did it do? It obeyed your intention, right? So energy does serve our intention. Then you can tell your arm go the other direction. So this is physical energy and how it obeys your intention. Well, the exciting thing is emotional energy does the same thing, mental energy and intellect does the same thing. It moves according to our intention. So when we practice mindfulness and meditation, we're making our intention healthy. And we're stopping when it goes unhealthy. And we're taking a mindful moment and moving it back into balance, back into health, so we can proceed in a healthy manner. That's all we're doing, right? We're making sure our intentions are healthy for us. So the stop technique is the gateway into all the mindfulness practices. And then we have, going forward, we have the external mindfulness practices. With the external mindfulness practices, we are going to ground down in our external environment using our senses. So the senses are going to be tamed so that we can ground down and find peace in our environment. So as we move forward to teach these techniques, the first sense that creates a lot of energy is the sense of sight. So to ground down the sense of sight, you want to just focus on one thing. And then just be with it, be present with it, be aware of it, with no judgment and with no expectation of it. So outside is a good place to be for these techniques. And if you want, you can look up at a cloud and just be mindful of the cloud. You don't have to judge it, analyze it, no expectation from it. Just be with it, let it talk to you. And that could be a mindful moment. And you would use it. With what the children are learning to do is use this to self-regulate when they're out of balance, when they're going emotionally overwhelmed or something's out of balance. Okay? You can ground down with sight with anything. You could look at a flower, you could look at a cloud, you could look at the stars, anything external. If you were inside, you could look at a picture on the wall, or you could hand out pictures, beautiful pictures of nature you could hand out to your class, and they could just enjoy that beautiful picture in front of them. So you're grounding down by being mindful. You're calming down, getting peaceful by being mindful of something with your sense of sight. The next sense that's pretty intense, it gives you a lot of input, is the sense of hearing. So if you were outside, you could just have them take a moment, take a pause, a mindful moment, stop and listen to the birds singing. Or listen to the waterfall. Listen to something and just be present with it. And just be aware of it with no judgment, no chatter about it, no intellectual wrangling about it, just be present with it. And the other thing we can do is we can use instruments, a drum or a bell, or even this Tibetan singing bowl. And as I strike it, you would let your students be fully present and aware of that beautiful sound coming out of the bowl. So let's just practice that one more time. So we would just allow ourselves to be mindful and enjoying that beautiful sound. Okay, you can choose other instruments with other beautiful sounds, but that's mindfulness, external mindfulness using the sense of sound. Okay, the sense of touch, we can get things in nature that feel good, and with the children, they could explore their sense of touch and just ground down with how beautiful this feather feels on their skin, or just touching this feather. You can get rocks to ground down with, just enjoy the sense of touch. Sense of taste, we could hand out a grape and just have everybody mindfully enjoy that wonderful taste of that grape, or any other nice, delicious, healthy food Mama Nature made, okay? And that's our 5 senses. We've got sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. Smell is a wonderful thing. If you were outside, you could just smell the beautiful flowers, or pick a flower and let them smell that, or use essential oils and put them on a little cotton swab and let them smell that and identify the different oils. They could have lavender, peppermint, different oils. So they're just really grounding down with a sense of smell. That's external grounding, using your senses. And then we'll move into internal grounding. And if you're wondering, where do you use these different techniques? Absolutely anywhere that they want, that they would work. So for our students, we're going to teach them all of these techniques, and they will get to choose in their lives which one works where, right? So they may be in the woods having a wonderful walk, and then they feel overwhelmed by some problem in their life, and they could just ground down and looking at a tree. That would work there. Or listening to the birds. See, so they get to choose. You just teach them the techniques, and they will choose where best to use them. So for internal grounding, we need to close our eyes. External grounding, we keep our eyes open. Internal mindfulness, we close our eyes. And now we practice breathing calmly. So the stop technique and the breathing technique are both gateways into external mindfulness and internal mindfulness. Those are the 2 gateways. Either you just stop, or you might want to just take a few deep breaths before you stop, if stopping is not something you can do right away. So deep breathing is just being mindful of your breath, taking a deep breath in, slowly exhaling. What happens when we start to be mindful of our breathing and we start to breathe slower? Something amazing happens, especially when you exhale very slowly, slow as you can without feeling uncomfortable. Let's try that a few times. Slowly exhale. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which immediately brings you into a state of calm. So you can see why that needs to be our gateway into our mindful technique. And you may want to use the breathing focus before you stop or after. It all depends. You'll experiment with it as a teacher yourself, and then allow your students to explore and have fun with this. Okay? So let's move on to internal grounding. Notice we have 3 different places we can become aware of, mindful of, to ground there. That's our physical energy, our emotional energy, and our mental energy, which also includes the intellect. So our mental energy is our thoughts coming in, and the intellect is reasoning with the thoughts. Okay, so let's begin with the physical energy. So we close our eyes and we become mindful or aware or conscious of how we're feeling physically. Without any judgment, we just enjoy that. Start to take some deep breaths. Exhale slowly and just enjoy your physical energy. Now notice if there are any places in the body that are tight. We may be clenching our teeth tightly together. We may be gripping our hands. We may be squeezing some muscle in our body. We're not aware of it until we become mindful. And those areas we want to invite to relax. And then we're allowing them to relax, and we're letting that energy just float away, all that tense energy, maybe in your neck or shoulders. So we're just breathing, and on the exhale, we're allowing ourselves to relax more. So to recap, we close our eyes, we become aware of our physical energy without any judgment. We just accept that's how we are right now. Then we notice which places in our body are really tight. That means the energy is locked up in there. It's tight for some reason. The body, through stress, armors itself. It puts on an armor, and we're trying to let go of the armor to teach the body that we're not stressed anymore, that we're actually feeling safe. So we're breathing. And on the exhale, we're letting go of some of that body armor, right? What we've put on to protect ourselves. It's physical, mindfulness, physical energy, mindfulness, and release. Okay? So now let's work on emotional energy. Same thing, mindfulness. We close our eyes and become aware of how we're feeling emotionally. And we just want to be with it. Remember, there's no judgment. For us to be in a mindful place, there's no judgment at first, okay? And there's no expectation. There's just a feeling of visiting that place in yourself, becoming aware of it, conscious of it. And the next thing is accepting it. I'm not trying to pretend it's not there. I'm not trying to move away from it because it's uncomfortable. I'm just accepting it. Oh, I feel really sad right now. And I just sit with it. Now, I'm not judging sadness as something's wrong or something's bad, right? I'm just saying what it is. Mindfulness means just, it is what it is, right? I'm sad. Sad isn't wrong or right, good or bad, it's just sad. Okay? And so once you've become aware of what we're feeling emotionally, and we've given it an expression to say to ourselves, I feel whatever it is, you'll feel that it goes into balance. It starts to relax. So once we've got it into that place where it's relaxing, now we can release it, just like we release the physical energy. We can de-armor our emotional energy as well, right? So remember, we first have to get in touch with it and let it relax by accepting it and not judging it. And now we'll take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Emotional energy needs to be expressed in order to be released. So if I want to express it without words, I use a sigh. Deep breath in and sigh out. Feel that? Emotional energy release. Now we can also ah out, so we use our voice. We don't use words, just our voice, to express how we're feeling emotionally. Deep breath in and ah out. Just let it all out, and you feel so much better afterwards. That emotion hasn't gone away. It's part of who we are. We're full of emotions, right? But at least it's gone into balance. Okay? And then we can it out. Deep breath in and out. That's expressing yourself. So when emotions are expressed, they move into balance, and you let go of the overwhelm of them. They only remain balanced. So when emotions are expressed, they move into balance, and they don't feel so overwhelming. And then the most beautiful thing to do is to om it out. Deep breath in and om out. So you're going to feel the ah resonate in the belly, the O up in the heart and throat, and the up in the head. So you're vibrating all these emotions out of your body. The issues are in the tissues, right? So deep breath in and om out. And then after the Om, we sit in silence because that's where most of the healing takes place. The Ah is releasing the emotions in the survival energy area, O in the heart, and then in the head, right? And then when we sit in silence, we can actually feel it all emptying out after the Om. So we'll try that one more time. Deep breath in. Be present with the energy vibration of the Om. That's sound healing, one of the highest sounds of all, because it's the primal sound when the energy left the Creator. That was one of the primal vibrations. Okay? And then next we have our mental energy. So the mental energy is the thoughts. There's many, many thoughts running around in the thought ether, right? Now we happen to bring down from the ether those thoughts that we feel are exciting for us. So if we're in a bad mood, guess what? We're going to grab all the bad thoughts out of there because that's what's resonating with us, right? But if we were in a good mood, we would bring down all the good ones. So here we want to be sure that we are mindful of what we're bringing down into our being, right? So we sit here and just become aware of our thoughts. And mindful means no judgment, right? So we're just being aware. Oh, there's an interesting thought. I'm thinking about my vacation I had this weekend, or I'm thinking about what to eat for dinner. Just be there with your thoughts for a while. Be mindful of them. To bring them out, you would want to express them. Say your thought. And then this is directly from the yoga practices. So the yoga masters discovered that if you want to release energy in your mind, you've got to switch it over. If it's negative, you have to switch it over to a positive first before that energy will leave your mind. If it's negative, it's going to vibrate into your body as an emotion and a survival instinct, and it won't let go because you're going to have to survive this, okay? But if you switch it over to a positive, then it's easy to let go of because now you don't feel in danger anymore. Okay, so let's have an example of that. What is an example of a negative thought pattern? Okay, so a negative thought pattern is focused on the problem. There's no judgment here, right? We're not judging is it good or bad, wrong or right. We're just judging if it's focused on a problem, then that problem is going to be resonating as unsafe. There's something unsafe here, right? So when we're being mindful of our thoughts, notice if you're worried about paying your mortgage this month. That's a problem, right? So that would be your mind is in a negative frame of mind at that time. So what the yoga masters are telling us is before we can let go of mental energy, we need to switch it over into a positive. So positive is simply the solution to your problem. How quickly can you move from problem to solution, right? As soon as you move from what's the solution to my problem, I'm going to have to work a little harder, get a little bit more money, and then I'll be fine. I'll be able to pay my mortgage. As soon as you've switched over from that problem into the solution to the problem, it's no longer negative energy. It's very positive, and it doesn't armor your body. It actually makes you feel excited because you're going to go on a new adventure now to make more money. And everything that I'm teaching you today on this video is how are you going to teach your students to get to this place too. So then you focus on the positive, right? The positive is, wow, I wonder how I could work harder. You focus on the solution to the problem and get some more money and pay my mortgage by the end of the month. And that becomes exciting, what we call wow lessons. Wow, I can't wait to look for a new job, some new adventure to go on rather than the problem, right? And then once we've got into the problem-solving part of our mind, Now we can easily let the mental energy go. So we work that. We work changing the negative into a positive, and later on we'll learn the turn it around technique with our children when we get to that age and stage where we can actually have fun with it. But for now, we're just switching, turning around the problem into a solution. And then once we've got the plan for the solution, we're going to let it go completely so it's not destroying my beautiful now moment. Right? Because right now I'm in my peace practice time. I've let go physically, emotionally, and mentally, and I want to just be at peace. And peace practice is just allowing yourself, after going through all that work of grounding external and internal, to be at peace for a few moments. And we just sit quietly to heal. And we just repeat the mantra, peace, peace. With silence in between. And notice if anything's popping in there, another problem or something else, and dissipate it. Let it go. Peace. Peace. Let the gap between each piece get longer and longer, and see if you can have stillness in between the gap. Peace. Peace. Okay, so we're practicing a mantra. If peace doesn't work for other people, you could say be still or focus or other mantras. You can make them up, but peace is a good one. And then finally, for this video, we're going to do Jyoti meditation. So this is meditation on inner light. This technique I learned from a beautiful teacher, Rajinder Singh. If you feel very excited about this, you can look him up online, sos.org. But this balances out all the emotional energy, right? So we're going to bring the awareness to the top of the head. You can place your hand on top of the head. For children, you would put something on top of the head, like something that'll balance on top of the head. You could use a beanbag or stuffed animal. So this just brings the awareness. Your awareness is your spirit current all the way to the top of the head. Close your eyes and just watch inside. Watch any color that's showing up in front of you. And the colors are the colors of your chakra, and the color that is being given to you is to balance that emotional part of yourself. So you want to sit quietly, watch your inner color, and repeat the mantra, peace, internally, silently. So we're practicing letting go of any distractions. Anything comes in there to take you away from watching your inner color and repeating your mantra, let it go. And continue for a little while longer. Coming out of our meditation, we're going to open our eyes, feel the effect of Jyoti meditation. So that completes our lesson for this video. I would strongly recommend that you go through this a few times, practice it on your own, me coaching you, and then when you feel you've got the hang of it, try to teach someone in your family. Just practice it, or if you don't have anyone around, just practice teaching nobody, but just develop your own language of how to teach these practices. So I'll see you again in the next video. Have fun with this.